For more on the deployment of troops in Mozambique and insecurity, we're now joined via Zoom by Fredson Guilengue, the manager at Rosa Luxemburg Foundation. Mr. Fredson, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the Globe.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Now, what does the deployment of these Rwandan soldiers mean for the fight against militant insurgency in Mozambique?
Well, looking at from this moment on, we might have some different outcomes. One, it might be that it may result in the group becoming smaller in terms of its attacks, retreating into small groups, dispersing, or maybe trying to jump the border, as some say, into Tanzania. Or what might happen is that the group continues to launch its attacks. But it all depends on how these new deployments, the Rwandans, together with the SADC group, are going to coordinate their operations on the ground. So only based on that, we will see the different outcomes. Yeah.
Will this enough, perhaps, to dampen the militants' momentum in Mozambique?
As I was trying to say, maybe yes. It depends on how they're going to coordinate. I was actually watching the Minister of Defense talking about these issues in terms of who is going to be commanding these troops. But apparently, from the Mozambican side, that's very clear. President Nyusi, the president of Mozambique, said, I think, if I'm not mistaken, yesterday that all the foreign troops that are going to be fighting on the Mozambican soil will be under the command of the Mozambican forces, not what I understood from the minister. If I'm not mistaken, what she said is that the agreement implied that some foreign countries, including South Africa, would have the command of these forces. But the Mozambicans, according to the government of Mozambique, this is clear, it's going to be the Mozambicans to lead the operations on the ground. So let's see how it's going to happen. We also have to take care on other aspects that last time I spoke to you guys, I tried to reiterate the question of human rights. How is this going to unfold now that you're going to have different troops fighting on the Mozambican soil? Who is going to be, how are the issues of human rights going to be preserved?
Yeah, and speaking of the preservation of human rights, just how important is it now to guard the border against the spilling over of the insurgents to other countries?
Yes, it is very important because, since it's clear now that, at least it has been announced is that these troops, both the Rwandans and the troops from the SADC region are going to be deployed for a first period of 3 months. So this is very clear. For me, for anyone being part of the insurgents, they might just decide to retreat for this very period and say, okay, let's jump, let's leave our guns, or let's just leave our weapons and let's jump back into our countries. For those who are not from Mozambique, for this particular period, 3 months, and then we regroup. So this might also be the case. And I think it's important. It has always been important, particularly for Tanzania, because the government of Mozambique and a lot of Mozambican analysts claim that these groups, when they are under pressure in Cabo Delgado, in some districts of Cabo Delgado, they run into Tanzania, they hide there, and then they cross back the border into Mozambique to conduct the attacks.
Now, we've seen that during his visit to Rwanda, French President Emmanuel Macron pledging his support to Mozambique to help with the insurgency. Can we now see the fruits of that meeting between Paul Kagame and Emmanuel Macron?
Maybe because it's a very big coincidence that Mozambique, we know from the start that we have French interest. Total is there. It's a very big investment. It comes with the flag of the French government. It's a French company. It's a very big company. It's a very big investment, and I'm sure Macron would want to see this investment. Producing fruits for the French economy as well. So I believe that that they might have had a discussion, the three of them. And then they might have decided that, Rwanda is going to send troops, and France might probably finance that. So this is just a speculation, since we don't know. It's not clear, and not even from the Mozambican side. We have not understood yet anyone saying who's going to pay for this mission, how much this mission costs. We have no idea. And again, this is very important, so that the Mozambicans know. If the money is going to come from the taxpayers, or it's going to come from a foreign country. So it's very important to know that, because this is a very expensive mission.
But is his involvement a welcomed intervention in African affairs, though, given the often antagonistic relations between modern-day Africa and the former colonial masters?
I think it is already creating a bit of, causing a bit of tension. To some extent, I understood today the minister, although the Minister of Defense said there is no such thing as tension because this is a bilateral agreement, but she also stressed that the fact that this mission is going to arrive in Mozambique, or arrived in Mozambique before the SADC, is also a bit of it didn't give a very good impression. But also, I don't think that Mozambique neighbors, including South Africa, would want to see the influence of Rwanda coming down to this area, and especially if it becomes clear one day that, I'm not saying that this is the case now, that France is behind that France is funding that and is using Rwanda, as a way of expanding its influence here. So geopolitically, it definitely causes a bit of tension. But there are some rumors that say that what the Rwandans want in return is to have easy access to those called Rwandan dissidents that are here in this region, in Mozambique and in South Africa, and they want to get from the Mozambican government, particularly, free access to these people. But there are also another version who says that Rwanda just wants to send this image of this good country. Yes, you guys are calling us undemocratic, but we are supporting the fight against terror in this very, very poor country like Mozambique, without capacity. We are there. We are not as bad as you think. We are actually doing a good job.
Now, Fredson, what are your thoughts about the SADC's capacity to handle the crisis in Mozambique? The fact that it took Rwandan troops to intervene in Mozambique, and Rwanda, as it were, is not even a member of SADC. Does that leave SADC with egg on face? Fredson, you still with us?
Yes, the line was breaking. May you please ask your question again?
No, I was just asking about what you think of SADC's capacity to handle the situation in Mozambique, because SADC has often been criticized for, taking its own time in acting in matters of emergencies such as these. And it took Rwanda, which is not even a member of SADC, to intervene in Mozambique.
This is clear. The fact that Mozambique also, went to ask for Rwandan support. If this is exactly true, that it was Mozambique who took the initiative, it shows clearly that there is a question of trust. And Mozambique, it keeps stressing. The president also said that these Rwandan forces have got a lot of experience. They have fought similar combats in their region. They managed to contain the advance of extremism in their country and also elsewhere in the region. So this shows a bit of a lack of trust to other SADC peers, because you cannot have the SADC troops coming simultaneously with the Rwandans, and you keep claiming always that the Rwandans have got a lot of capacity, and you don't make similar comments when it comes to SADC. So again, there is this. I mean, Mozambique's position to have involved Rwanda shows that there's this question of capacity when it comes to SADC. But let's see what's going to happen on the ground. The SADC troops will be in their own region. Most of them, some of them, I think their commanders or generals might have fought already in Mozambique during the civil war or during the independence. So they probably have a much better knowledge of the context than the Rwandan troops have.
All right, Fredson, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for joining us. And this is a matter that we'll be closely following in the coming days. That is Fredson Guilengue Manager at Rosa Luxemburg Foundation, speaking to us live via Zoom.